Do you ever feel afraid to ride? Um, I know I do a lot, actually, especially after having kids. I find I have a much higher sense of self preservation than I ever did before. And I see this a lot in my students. And I want to talk a little bit about that today. But I feel like this is the hardest when you have your own horse and you have a good relationship with your horse and you love your horse and you still feel a little bit afraid of your horse or of riding sometimes. That can really do a number on our brains. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you're new here, I'm Ruby. I'm a whole horsemanship trainer. I have a training and lesson program, and I help horses and people to have a better relationship based on holistic principles. And today we're going to be talking specifically about the people that love their horse but are feeling nervous to ride or lack of confidence. I have a whole bunch of resources on lack of confidence. And so if this doesn't feel quite like you, check out some of those resources below. Or if this is really helpful and you want to go deeper, I have so many different videos and resources linked below that will definitely be helpful for you. But for today, we're going to be talking about this really specific case where you love your horse, you have a great relationship, and you still feel nervous. So this can happen sometimes for specific reasons. Like sometimes you can really point to like, oh, it was that fall, or there was some really specific trust violation that happened that made you feel nervous around your horse or around or riding in general. But if that didn't happen, you can still suddenly feel nervous. And this can happen for all kinds of reasons. You can suddenly feel overfaced, like you have, or outhorsed, like you have too much horse you're riding. If your horse feels more powerful, like if they've been under training and they've had an upgrade to their skill set and you haven't had that same upgrade, you can suddenly feel like you're not as compatible as you used to be. And also, you can just grow apart over time. What you want from your riding, you might find that you're in a phase of life where you actually don't want to take as many risks and you're wanting to slow down, but your horse is still feeling very ambitious and wants to go do stuff all the time. And you're just feeling like, sometimes you just want to get on and relax and you don't want to actually have to do so much work. So, we're going to kind of go into a few of those. So, the first is if you have either a specific or maybe more sneaky, not so specific lack of confidence thing, the biggest thing that will build your confidence is going out and doing the scary thing, but in a way that your logical brain at least knows will go well. And so this could look like going and riding a friend's horse who's maybe a little bit less horse than yours. This could look like having a trainer put you on a lunge line. This could look like a trainer riding your horse first and then you would going and riding your horse. But basically, the idea is that you're taking it down a few notches so that your logical brain knows that this will go well, even though your lizard brain and your fight or flight reactive part of your brain that's trying to protect you, which is a good thing. We want our brains to protect us from this very dangerous sport that we do, that we can kind of help that to take a back seat by proving to it that this is actually safe and that we have the skill we need to do everything that we think we're setting out to do. So that just comes from experience and from specifically pushing yourself to do a hard thing and having it go well. So the more you can do that, the better. So leaning into that is going to be your first plan of attack. If you used to feel like you were compatible with your horse, or you originally thought this was going to be a good idea, like maybe you bought your horse in the summer and now it's winter, or you bought your horse and you're able to ride 5 days a week, and then suddenly your job changed and now you can only ride 2 days a week and your horse is just way too much for you on those 2 days, this is maybe the advice you need to hear. So the first thing is you need to really evaluate whether or not you and your horse are still compatible. So this is the hardest question to ask yourself, especially when you already love your horse, because you don't even want to question that. Like, you want to just believe that it's all going to be okay if you just keep putting in more effort. But the reality is that your horse may want or need more work or exercise or mental stimulation than what you're willing to give them. So if you're wondering if you and your horse are still compatible, check out the quiz I have linked below. It'll help to kind of diagnose that for you. It'll help to kind of diagnose that for you and help to pinpoint where there might be some discrepancies, and you'll get a whole bunch of tips for your specific incompatibilities to help you get to the right place. But with that in mind, if you have decided that you and your horse are just needing different things right now, maybe your work schedule is, like I said, only allowing you to ride 2 days a week, but your horse is really a 5 days a week kind of girl, then what you need to do is think about, are we going to try to change you to give your horse what they need? Are we going to try to change your horse to give you what you need? Or are we going to just decide this is not working right now and we need to make a change? So I'm going to go into all three of those, and we're going to use the example of the person that can only ride 2 days a week. I know that might not quite match your situation, but this might be helpful just to hear a specific example. My boomerang horse. No matter what I do, she comes back. Okay. So if you want to change yourself to be able to give your horse what they need, what we're going to do in this particular instance is find more opportunities for you to get out and ride. If that means sacrificing, I don't know, Friday night dinner with your friends, or if that means, I don't know what else, like ordering your groceries for delivery so you don't have to go to the store, like wherever you can find little places to save yourself time and sacrificing some other things so that you can ride more often to give your horse what they need. That I know is not realistic for most people. So that may not be the answer in this case. But let's say in another situation, maybe you're just feeling like your horse is really powerful right now and you're not able to keep up because you have lost your body condition because you were sick for a long time. I don't know. Another example, you might then invest in a gym or a personal trainer, especially potentially an equestrian personal trainer that can help to bring your body back to where it needs to be for your horse. So we're doing the work on you to help get your horse's needs met. The second option, hello. The second option is if you want to try to bring your horse to a place so that you can get your needs met. So if you're saying, I really can only ride 2 days a week, but my horse needs 5 rides a week, who can you hire to go ride your horse? Or do you have a friend? Or could you do a partial lease? What can you do so that your horse gets those 5 rides a week, even if you're only able to come out twice? Hey, no, ma'am, that was too much. Thank you. Okay. Now, the third option is if you just say, this is just not working. I can only ride 2 days a week. I can't afford to find anybody. I can't find a lease. There's no way to get my horse those other 3 rides. We're just completely at an impasse. This is where it might be time to look at another option. So again, I brought up the partial lease situation. Maybe you need to look at a full lease. Maybe you need to hire a trainer. And maybe it's really time for you to sell your horse and find one that really only needs 2 rides a week. If this is a temporary thing, if you're like, this is a seasonal thing with my job and suddenly, in 2 months, I'm going to be able to ride 5 times a week, then maybe it's just something where you need to just buckle up and do your best for the next couple months and then get through it. I hope that was helpful. Check out the other resources below. And until next time, make sure to hug your horse for me.